Hello, welcome to One's the Force, the Stars podcast. My name is Phil, of course, and welcome back to the show. Joined as usual by Dave and George. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello there.
Good evening.
How are we all doing this evening?
Very good, very good. It doesn't seem like 2 minutes since the last here with the lovely show that we did on Sunday. Not seen it, nip back, go and watch that into it.
We're not even a minute in, we've already got a shameless plug for our weekend show. Of course, we did have our list video, our latest video on the Sunday. We're going down our list of our favorite 5 games per person. It was interesting having a look at that one because, as I was saying in that show, it kind of shows our age a little bit, with Dave being much more leaning towards the arcade style, mine being more towards like the N64 / early PC games, and George being the PlayStation generation. It's kind of that interesting gap between the games. But of course, we're back for our usual show now, and not a huge amount to talk about tonight, though, guys.
I wouldn't say it's. I think it's more sort of discussion points more so than outright news. We're getting to the Force Friday sort of build up now. We're 3 weeks away, are we? I am scared for the day that everything goes on sale. I won't be buying anything this year. Trust me, I won't be buying anything. I'm in London the day before and I'm in London the day after. So it's kind of there like, thank God for that.
And this year, Phil and I won't be attending either, so that'll be a downer. But there would be far too much tempting with a triple Force Friday. It worries me of how much stuff is coming out.
Well, you say not to. I'm tempted to attend. I'm tempted. We've got to look into it because I do have a friend, as you well know, Dave, who lives at this time. Might be in London, so I might be able to crash and might go and spend a little bit of money. But we'll see. We'll see. There's no guarantees as of yet. But yeah, everything is ramping up towards Force Friday and ramping up towards, well, The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and everything else that's coming out in November. So it's not really a huge amount to talk about at the moment. But speaking about the Rise of Skywalker, might as well crack into our first bit of news, which is there's a new episode 9 trailer being classified by the BBFC. It's 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So most likely October to link either ticket sales or Force Friday. It'll probably go on Monday Night Football as it usually does because, of course, that's ESPN. So that's usually when they stick it on. I think first or second week of October. So just before, Force Friday is the first week, isn't it?
Yeah, Force Friday is the Friday the 4th, but then there's rumors coming out now that New York Comic Con is the same weekend. Now, Disney doesn't normally do New York Comic Con. However, Warner Brothers are going to be there to do all of their stuff, which I'm actually looking forward to. But there's rumors that they might drop a trailer with Force Friday, which I think would be counterproductive because all the merchandise on Force Friday, if anything, it's going to be stuff we've seen from Vanity Fair or from the first trailer.
I wouldn't have thought they'd give a lot more away, maybe a little bit more story point, but I can't see them they want to give much more out than they've already.
Apologies there, we seem to have lost Dave, but yeah, agreeing with what he's kind of saying there is you're not really going to have, it is kind of counterproductive, you're not going to really give much more away. If anything, if it's coming on top, I reckon it will more be towards the end of October. You've had Force Friday, you'll have the Disney Plus coming out the month after, you'll have, of course, Rise of Skywalker in December, so I think for me it feels better at the end of it. But either way, it won't give too much away. It'll be a lot of what we've seen already with maybe 30 seconds worth of new footage, if that.
I'd say end of October. Like I said, there was Monday Night Football as they've been, and tickets going to go on sale 2 months in advance at the end of the month. Nice and easy, get it done, get the tickets booked. None of that endgame nonsense of it's going to randomly come out at some point. Do what they did last Jedi, where they're going to go on sale tomorrow, time slot done.
Yeah,
go.
So what I reckon is they use Force Friday to then start to build up towards that trailer, and then because if you start in October, you got 2 months before the film comes out. So you start off with Force Friday, end of the month you have the trailer, followed by maybe the first weekend in November have ticket sales, something like that. So you've got a good 6 to 8 weeks.
I mean, the way I'd say if I was Disney, I'd be like, right, get the trailer out before Mandalorian comes out because you don't want. You want not marketing to have finished because obviously it can't finish until it's way of the film. But the last thing they want is Mandalorian to be dropping weekly and have a Star Wars trailer come out and overshadow Mandalorian. Yep. So I think if they can get tickets and that out by the time that,
well, yes, if you do the trailer the last week of October, have the tickets go on the 1st of November, that still gives you 14 days until
Yeah.
Mandalorian comes out.
But I think normally, if you look at the trend of Disney now, that Endgame trailer tickets on sale within 10 minutes. Last Jedi did the same thing. Force Awakens, same day. I think Infinity War did the same thing. There seems to be the trend now. And to be fair to Lucasfilm, I think Star Wars is kickstarting a lot of these newer Disney trends that it's so... I mean, normally you'd have one teaser plus 3 trailers or 2 trailers for a film.
Yeah.
Since Force Awakens, certainly Last Jedi, it's 1 teaser, 1 trailer. To me, I don't really count the D23 thing. To me, it's like a TV spot more.
Oh,
so
that's
than
more of a sizzle reel with a bit of extra. It's not.
It's not exactly, and that kind of slipped in. That's fine. And
no, don't get me wrong. I love that. I love that video because I love the progression with the original trilogy, the prequels into the sequels, into the Rise of Skywalker. I think it's a brilliant video. But yeah, it's not what you consider a full-on trailer.
No, exactly, and I think that's what's important with it. I think when you get to the marketing stage, the issue is they do it so well, and then you get the TV spots that come in December, and you get like 10 of them, 11 of them, and you kind of don't want to see any of them because all of the TV spots tend to be new footage, and they give away too much. But it gets to that point, like, please stop releasing them.
Yeah, we've had the same issue when it came to The Last Jedi, came to Solo, not so much The Force Awakens, but...
Oh, no, Force Awakens, Force Awakens are like 14 TV spots. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I can't remember. It was 4 years ago now, so it's kind of a little hazy of how many they did for it. But
I'm excited. I think tactically, they know what they're doing. They've got all of this. I mean, people that are in marketing's planned out.
Yeah.
Not months in advance, it's years in advance. They know their schedules and everything like that, so leave it with them. Yeah. I think the big thing this year was Force Friday moving to October. When I was getting Facebook notifications last week, like, here was Force Friday for episode 7, here was Force Friday for episode 8, I kind of sat there like, wow, how early were they on sale? Like, as great as it was, you kind of think logically...
What we were talking about in the last couple of years is it had that horrible tendency to then dip before the ticket sales. So you had that, it was hype, lull, hype again, when they really wanted this nice, slow, linear...
Yeah, you want to plan it, and I think that's what they do. I think Force Awakens was the exception that, it was the first bit of Star Wars merch in new merchandise, you could say, in 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And, you've got the collectors buying everything on day one. You got them buying all again in November, and then you got the Christmas shop in December, whereas Last Jedi was, if they wanted it, it was born in September. The shelves stayed full till December, and the shelves didn't go down massively in December either. Not necessarily about the contents, but you got to think most people have the exact same costume in Last Jedi as they did in Force Awakens. Not that that's got anything to do with the money side of it, but there's certainly going to be more varied, I think, stuff for episode 9. And obviously, when you've got Mandalorian, when you've got the game as well, there's going to be marketing for each and every one of those done equally over this period.
Yeah, we also got Fallen Order as well, so you'll have marketing for that. It's a triple header of Force Friday. So it's what the Mandalorian, the Rise of Skywalker, and Fallen Order. So it's kind of that big triple threat.
Yeah. And speaking of the Mandalorian, if we move on to our next piece of news, we've lost Dave, so I'm going to skip the next one because he holds all the photos to the kingdom.
Yep.
So Jon Favreau has been talking about the Mandalorian. If you live under a rock, you will know that he wrote it, produced it, did everything with it except direct an episode. He did an interview this week. Unofficially, season 2 has not been announced, but he said, I definitely think I'm going to direct an episode in season 2. I didn't get around to doing one season 1 purely because I had busy out with Lion King. Very understandable.
And he was going between the set of The Mandalorian and the editing of The Lion King.
And
really
Spider-Man.
had no time.
All 3 in...
Yeah, and Spider-Man, yes. He had really no time at all.
It's insane that he managed to do 2 of those and only 3 of those. So fair play to him. And, I'd love to see him direct. I think he kind of hinted that the writers and directors are already all on. They're not going to be... I mean, to be fair, they didn't even announce the directors until after the show wrapped, did they? So I'm guessing they'll probably bring back some of the people from season 1.
They announced it after the pilot had wrapped, but not before the main production had.
So I reckon I can imagine someone like Taika Waititi staying on. I can imagine like Bryce Dallas Howard.
Well, with IG-11, you can imagine he'll be back, yeah.
Yeah, well, presuming he doesn't die at the end of first season. But
yeah, true.
You never know, but... It's. I like the fact that Bryce Dallas Howard, Ron Howard did Solo. I think she interviewed last week where she was like, "Oh, I was on the set of Solo a lot, getting directing tips off my dad. Obviously, being in with Lucasfilm probably massively helped her. And we do know that obviously Kathleen Kennedy has said openly in the past, I do want women directors on Star Wars. That's something I want to do. So we got that with The Mandalorian. I'm guessing we'll get that a bit more. And maybe one day we'll get them directed film. Obviously, we know there's going to be more TV than there are films. So it's not going to be as obvious as it was 5 years ago. But there is that piece of news. Mandalorian photos. Are we going to wait for Dave, or are we going to
wait for Dave? We'll wait for Dave to come up. We might as well crack on with the next bit of news, because it actually does still kind of work into it with Disney Plus, with the fact that Disney signed a 10-year exclusive Pinewood lease. I'm not going to say anything about your eyes, either employments, but we have known this for a while. With respect to your properties to film there, we know that Cassian and Indiana Jones are all but confirmed that you're looking at also the
maybe Obi-Wan.
I reckon Obi-Wan would film there.
I think Mandalorian's going to stay in America.
Yeah, Cassian will be here. I reckon Indy will be here. You'll probably have Kenobi and potentially the new trilogy.
Yeah, so I think what it is with this, I think they always said Cassian would film in London, but there was no studio formally attached to it. Even at D23, they just said it's going to film in London early next year. Now, this Pinewood news, I mean, obviously, you know, the whole news, except The Mandalorian, the entirety of the Disney era has filmed there. And the only reason Mandalorian didn't film there was because Episode 9 was filming at Pinewood. It was the exact same filming schedule. This is why I'm kind of intrigued for next year, that we know Cassian's going to shoot early in the year.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan is going to shoot next year, so whether it will be a case of whether it's a case of Cassian finishes, moves out, Obi-Wan moves straight in, or if they're going to overlap, could one go to California? I don't know, but I think Indiana Jones, when that film was announced years ago, they said it'd be Pinewood.
Depend on how many stages they take up.
Yeah, because I was going to say, me and you, obviously we're not discussing employment, but we are very familiar with that studios. I think that's one way of saying it.
Yep.
And for anyone that doesn't know, there has been massive extensions over the last couple of years. Even some news that Netflix have took over Shepperton, and Disney's obviously now kind of took over. I mean, you'd much rather Pinewood than Shepperton, I'm not going to lie. Probably far more expensive to do, but I think Disney's filmed a lot of things there. I think Maleficent filmed there last year. They've had, obviously, the Star Wars films. I think they've had loads of Disney films there, to be fair. Obviously, Marvel's filmed a lot in England in the past, and in Pinewood, Atlanta, it's filmed a lot as well. So it's nothing surprising to the people that know the industry. What's kind of winding me up is the very typical Disney haters that, how do I describe it? Oh, Disney buy everything. I was like, well, they haven't bought the studios. They've just rented a decent proportion of it for 10 years. And they've got the infrastructure to do that. They've got, if you're Pinewood Studios, you've got a guarantee of, yeah, we know these guys are going to be busy for 10 years. Why not? And people said, oh, what about James Bond? The biggest stage at Pinewood is called the 007 stage. There's a Bond film every, 4 years? Of course they're going to make room for the James Bond film. That's kind of a given. But, you know, at the end of the day, if people want to really look into this, if they want to try and sling their hook and pretend that they know stuff, you only need to Google how much Pinewood owns to realize that there's absolutely nothing that they are doing in terms of they're not giving anything, they're not locking anything on. Disney haven't took over, they're still office blocks and everything like that.
Oh, of course. And the other point is that people tend to forget when they complain is that, well, that guarantees people's employments for 10 years.
Also that as well.
You know, it's good for everyone involved. Now that we do have Dave back, for those of you on the audio version, we lost him, and now he has returned to us as a Force Ghost, looking better than ever. We're going to crack back on with, we've skipped over a couple places of news, Dave. We're going back to the EW photos. Of course, you're the man with the photos, so we couldn't really do them without you.
Yeah, I do apologise for that. My net blew up, so I disappeared for a while, but I'm glad it stayed live. I actually thought the show might shut down. We might have to go again, but the fact you guys got to carry on while I disappeared off, this also means StreamYard, you get an extra 2 thumbs up for that, because that's awesome. I thought we were going to have a take 2. So yeah, these pictures came out was it the start of this week?
Last week.
And the cover, for starters, was the first pic that obviously people saw, and it gives us our first new look at the Mandalorian helmet close-up.
Indeed, we've seen it, of course, in the official trailer and in pictures from Star Wars Celebration with the costume on display, but to have an actual nice, full-on, just profile picture is, I think it's a really cool design in terms of it's got the Mandalorian T-bar and the indented cheeks, but to have the other individual details around it, to have the piece down the middle, I kind of like it.
It's nice to see it in like a close up that we've had so many shots of him full body, 3/4 of the body, him walking alone long distance in trailers. We haven't really had anything close up, and it's still like this, which is, I'm not going to say iconic, but you can picture Hasbro like licking their lips, like, we cannot wait to do that helmet. That is going to sell a lot.
It's a really nice shot, yeah. And you're right, it will be the main selling point. This helmet is going to be everywhere when this show comes out. A couple of other shots we got as well in the magazine.
We have Thanos' hut from Avengers Endgame in the first ever crossover. It would have Avengers Endgame unspoilerish alert. If the Mandalorian had been waiting outside the building, things might not have been what they were. That's all I can say about that one. And you have like an MMA fighter just sitting down on the outside of Gina Carano.
Yeah. So definitely stuff would never have gone down if Thanos had showed up there. No, it does look really cool. Again, it's just kind of interesting to see where that will be and what place it'll take. What will take place there. Not really giving much away, but at the same time, just showing it. And then of course we've got one more photo, which again is Gina Carano and Pedro Pascal in some sort of fight. We don't know what it is yet, although it does look rather posed. The other issue with the photo that we don't have, but we will talk about, is the one with the two Trandoshans, or look. Similar to Trandoshans in that.
You mean the Star Trek 1960?
Yeah, the photo looks too good. The quality is too high. It looks like models. It genuinely is that little bit too crisp. If you know what I mean, technology's gone a bit too far.
It needs a bit of dirt on the lens. Yeah.
It's the backdrop of like, here's some dirty old caves that are actually very clean and nice, and you look at it like, right. So like, it just looks like not a green screen in that sense of it's green screen shit. I mean, in the sense that it literally looks like like the old school. They put like a canvas up behind them or something, and it looks like one of them, which is fine. But I think we try not to come into psych stuff off. Of all these,
we don't know the context and how to look in the
and
all we know, this is a professionally taken still photo that just looks too clean.
Well, no, it's more the fact that like of any photo they could have used to promote the film and this issue, they used the worst one first.
Yeah,
because sometimes these magazines, you're gonna get one photo. It'll be like, oh, here's the end of year TVs, and you get like one picture per series, and that was the Mandalorian picture. Like, ugh. But then all the other ones came, so I was like, oh, thank God, like faith is restored. Not that I'd ever lost faith, but you know what I mean. It was just when that cropped up, I was like, is this real? Like,
yeah,
also, I saw people.
The one shot you probably wouldn't want out there because of it. Like, for it's been taken so fresh. It's a lovely, well taken photograph that was taken on some powerful camera, but it crisps up everything. It looks far too clean and lovely. It needed to be a bit of Vaseline on the lens there to give us the proper look for that. But again, I love that we're getting Trandoshans, and obviously we've seen from Clone Wars they come in all shapes and sizes, and these are obviously variations. They don't look exactly like Bosk, but
do you think he'll be in it?
No. I think we're gonna see. Did anyone see the while we're talking on this, Dave Filoni had a story come out this week, and I don't know if it's from this article, but he says it was on the set and one of his characters he created walked up in full costume and spoke to him, and it freaked him out.
I think I know who this is.
I'm hoping Embo.
There's been mass rumors of a certain Mandalorian. It's not spoilers. It's not official. There's just been rumors that Katie Sackhoff is going to be in it playing Bo-Katan.
Oh, that would be awesome.
When you add in the fact that she went to Star Wars Celebration this year, she was the biggest kind of animated guest. Not animated. How do I phrase this? You know how a lot of actors have done the animated series, but they're more famous for being an actor elsewhere.
Yeah.
So like Gina Torres, who does Ketsu, but she's also what's her name from Firefly? Completely got out of my head.
No idea who she is.
No idea. But yes, that exact thing, Phil.
Yeah, when Katie Sackhoff and Jason Isaacs were there, it was kind of like everyone's going to get something else signed that's not Star Wars. Obviously, there'll be some Star Wars being signed. but you kind of had we've lost Dave again. You had the kind of Katie Sackhoff, like, oh, is she going to be in it time-wise? Could she be in it Mandalorian-wise? I mean, she was in episodes when not just Dave Filoni was writing them, but Jon Favreau
for Clone Wars. We know that for sure.
Well, the other thing is Jon Favreau was in Clone Wars with her, so you never know. I think that, I mean, again, it's just all speculation, you know. I think logistically, she's probably one of the really obvious ones that have been animated, not seen in live action. But I can certainly imagine time-wise, you know, if you think about it, we're only 5 years post Empire Strikes Back. Like logistically, Bosk could be there. You never know.
I'd love to see some of the classic bounty hunters show up. I'd love to see anybody from any era, especially now we are just after Jedi.
Anyone from like, give me Dengar. I want to see Dengar. Bosk could show up in the Clone Wars. We haven't seen Dengar outside of it. Forlom, Zuckuss, and Dengar. Give me the obscure ones. I want all the obscure references.
Can't wait.
I mean, the Easter eggs you're going to find, even, you know, I know this is, well, you can find the footage if you really want to, but when you go back to that 8-minute Mandalorian clip from Celebration, when you had the Silicious Beaker and monkeys, and there was that, when the fact it was burning on the fire was funny, and then just the horrific dark humor of the other one in the cage watching it next to it, you know that's Taika Waititi's episode. It needs to be Taika Waititi's episode.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah.
And you know, if we're going to see things like that, because although it is a species, to me it was Silicious Bee Crumb reference. So I'm excited to see what other people crop up in this.
It's going to be amazing. It really is. Everything excites me.
The fact that Salacious is named after someone trying to say shoelaces when drunk is the most hilarious story. It's one of the best stories to ever come out of Star Wars. We're going to move on. So, Dave, we've already covered Jon Favreau directing episode of season 2 and the Disney taking over Pinewood. So we're going to go straight on to the Smuggler's Run, getting updated with leaderboard scores, which I haven't had. I didn't do the research for this one. So, George, do you want to take this one away?
Yeah, so obviously at Star Wars Land, when you go, you get to be a pilot, an engineer, or a gunner. They're now going to give you the option to not like log in, but kind of, you know, like the old school arcade, leave a leaderboard thing here. I'm intrigued to see how it works because they've been quite vague in it. It's an update they're going to bring to it soon. But if everyone's just going to max out, you have millions of people using it, I'm not quite sure how it's going to work. Or if, you know, if you get someone with one of them awkward names like a 69 or something like that at Disneyland on a ride where kids are going to go on.
Oh, they'll edit it slightly. They'll make sure.
I'll say there's a potential trainer, but I hope leaderboard wise it's more kept to within the sort of Star Wars type thing.
As long as you put 4 A's across the board, you'll be fine.
Classic.
Yep.
But that's what Dave said. It's a very odd one. Do you know what I mean? But
it seems strange that they'd want to put some kind of leaderboard because how many people are going to go there sort of 3-4 days? Oh, am I still on top? It's kind of a strange, you kind of visit and like, oh, there I am in that leaderboard miles down and not see that again. I don't know quite how they're going to run that into the game.
Probably so they can take some sort of screenshot for you. You can have print off so you can buy it. It's more merchandise.
Probably, yes, probably.
It's probably a case of, do you want a picture of your name on this leaderboard? If so, how does 20 of your finest dollars? That's probably more likely going to be the case. We're going to continue on with Galaxy's Edge, with the TSA has reversed its ban on the Galaxy's Edge Coke bottles, which we were going to have brought back first, but George now unfortunately not going. So we're going to talk about Wednesday. We've lost our own reporter, therefore no more horrifically priced Coke bottles for us.
The day that came out, I was like, well, the guy was an idiot for tweeting them saying, is it banned? Yeah, they came out looking worse because at the end of the day, it's just Coke bottles.
Yeah. And it was a strange one to stop, but it's kind of cool they're out. And you know what? I'm sure we'd want to bring one home once you get there. It's a novelty thing. And you probably get it in your room for like 20 minutes. Like, you know what? It's getting dusty and it's an old cut and you throw it away.
Yeah. When you paid $15 for it, you're going to want to take it home. That's the issue. When you paid $15 for a bottle of Coke, especially one that isn't as much Coke as you'd want, you're going to want to take that home with you.
I mean, if you pay $50 for Coke, it's the drinking kind. Just
We're not at that kind of Disney party. It's going to be It was a really weird thing that this even was newsworthy. But you know what? It probably did really well for the Disney part to get that. It was all over the news about them taking this thing away, so it went everywhere. So to get that's what they say. No advertising is no news is good news, or something like that.
Indeed. But considering on with Disney Parks, we've got the Star Wars Legends of the Force returning to Disneyland Paris January through March 2020. That's always been a popular event. Of course, we don't have a Galaxy's Edge in Europe yet. I can imagine Paris will get one at some point.
They're building, aren't they? It's 2021 or 2. They're saying it's going to be built, but it's going to be a lot smaller than the American ones. There's no Smuggler's Run. It's just going to be an X-wing being built there, and I'm guessing they'll probably have a canteen and probably just the lightsabers. Would you bet? It'll be like mini Galaxy's Edge that no one wants to go to. That probably will be the first time I get to go to one now. But then
boo, Disney Paris. Can we go?
Here we go. Star Wars Celebration 2021 Paris, and it coincides with the opening.
Oh, boom! Drops Mike, walks away. That's where we'll be.
Rubbing their hands. We've done it again.
Yep,
that's genius of them. And you know what? Yes, even if it was a smaller one, that is what, an hour flight to get to Paris, or the train. You know, I can get there really easy. Probably about a 5-hour train journey, and I could be there, which is incredible.
I could be there in 3 because I'm closer to it than you.
Yeah, so it would be an awesome thing if it did go. I mean, yes, it's going to be on a much smaller scale because of the size of Disneyland Paris. Just doesn't have the room to have what they've got at the say in the American Disney parks. But if they could even give us some of the experience there, like say the lightsabers building and the main shops where you're be able to buy the hilts and things like that. I think
you'll get Savvy's workshop. You'll probably get the droid builders workshop as well. You'll get the cantina. You'll get the stores.
You'll get the things you can spend money on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, yes. To put it in a very blunt way, they'll give you the bits that you can spend money on. They won't give you the full experience. It's just the way that the business side of it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad, but unfortunately, that is the way that business works. Next bit of news, our last bit of news for this evening, we have the writers from A Quiet Place meeting with Lucasfilm to talk about Star Wars /Indie. Again, George, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, so this is a very interesting one. So you don't really hear about this too often, that people unconnected to the Star Wars franchise have sit down and said, oh yeah, we just casually had a meeting with Disney and it was about Star Wars and You're like, oh, that's interesting. And then they went on to say some other stuff that they asked us, if you were going to do a Star Wars film, how would you do it? If you were going to do Indiana, how would you write it? What would you do? Blah blah blah. To me, this means they are no way in a million years going to get the job now because they've come out and said all of that. We know that Indiana Jones has been going through a lot of rewrites. It obviously has been delayed. To be fair, I'm not surprised. Obviously, Spielberg's filming West Side Story anyway, but it's kind of like, if you really want to work on Star Wars projects, you ain't going to come out and say you met with Lucasfilm. That is suicidal. They sound like the kind of questions they would ask somebody while they were prepping to get them in for a role. And again, we haven't had any writers say stuff like this, and this probably means it won't happen now. I may be proved wrong, maybe, but we know the Game of Thrones guys are writing and producing their own. We know that Rian Johnson's writing his own, and obviously Indiana Jones has got multiple people on it, so it kind of feels that more so probably TV more than anything, I'd say, for this. But it's an interesting one. I haven't seen Quiet Place. Got very, very high reviews. It's meant to be really good. I think it won an Oscar last year as well. And the big thing was it was like an original style story, which is quite nice. But they've definitely ruined their chances now, haven't they?
It seems, I love the fact they're still going out to new and exciting writers to look at what they do with the Star Wars property. And I like how it's now not just being names thrown out like, oh, Josh Trank, he's a recent name, let's give him a Star Wars movie. Now it's very much, it seems to be more want people to come in, just give us pitch to us, tell us what you do with Star Wars, and then maybe down the line we'll come back to you and say this, all right, we like your ideas, come in and write with the story group, whatever. But I like who they're going to. People, like I said, I really enjoyed A Quiet Place as well. It's a really great film, the way it's worked, the suspense in that. So I think there's a lot of hope that Disney are covering their bases with a lot of really good people in the industry now, fresh, young ideas who are going to bring new things to Star Wars, whether that be on TV or in the movies. I'm all up for that.
Yeah, I think they've learned the mistake from Solo and from Episode 9 of just giving out the films instead of going, okay, what would you do with it, and actually vetting the process better. And I think the franchise would be better off for that. I mean, what they were throwing with Lord and Miller and Trevor and the rest of it was just a bit. You could see the train wreck coming. It got avoided.
Trevorrow was the when's it going to happen? When did they?
Yeah, it really was. I like how George called Trevor way before he got rid of me as well.
It was just that, like, we knew it. It was like Jurassic World was a big hit. You just giving them all the money purely because I don't know Chris Kathleen Kennedy, but when Frank Marshall, her husband, was the guy that produced Jurassic World, of course there's some links to the director, and then reality kind of snapped in, and was it the first? They gave him like 2 drafts, and it was kind of like, no.
Yeah, it's not going to work for us, Colin. Unfortunately,
So
luckily they had JJ to save the day.
We just knew JJ. I mean, it was always going to be JJ O'Ryan. Obviously, at the time, I think we did videos. They're going to bring Rian Johnson back. We didn't know he was getting his trilogy. Bringing back JJ was the natural choice. Again, some people will say we wish JJ had the trilogy. I'm very happy with Episode 8. I'm very happy with Rian Johnson, and from everything JJ said, he loved 8 too, and it's made it funner for him to jump into 9. So we're all excited to see where it goes.
Oh,
we
can't
all
wait.
know,
And
like
like
Empire. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, yeah, with JJ, like George just mentioned there, really, that JJ said, and he came out, I think we said this before, that because of what Ryan did, gave him this idea that he could go out and make bold changes in Star Wars. They didn't have to stick to the normal formula. That he goes, oh, I can do that with Star Wars. That's great. So I can't wait for this movie.
I mean, the pressure on Episode 7, if you think about it, that I know it's the safe one. I've always respected that, and it's you've got a new generation who are going to grow up with it. You've got the prequel generation, my generation. You've got Phil's sort of post-original releases, but special edition generation. You've got Dave's generation of originals. Then you've got the parents of the ones that watched the originals as well. You've got like 40 years of heritage to pipe into this when the prequels critically and publicly they weren't what the originals were. To have the pressure that for JJ going into something like, how on earth do you approach it? That's the thing. That's probably one of the hardest films someone will ever have to direct, because the pressure on him is more so than any other director has probably ever had on a production. And I'd like to prove me wrong.
And of course, what we have to remember is that when Empire first came out, it wasn't critically acclaimed as much as Episode 4. You had to wait for 6 to come out for Empire to be recognised for what it was, and I think that 9 will do this for 8 as well.
Yeah.
I could go with that.
Yeah. And then we're going to move on to Toy Shelf. For the first bit of news, so I'm happy that it's out. I think it's cool, but I'm not getting it just because I don't have the space. But we're going to talk about the ridiculous price tag as well. We've had the Lego Star Destroyer announced, 650 quid, 4,784 pieces. Guys, I'm going to let you take this one away.
This is one that I will not be bringing home when it goes on sale next week. It's actually going on sale this Sunday in London at a one-off event. I won't be there. Looking at the screen, yes, it looks great. Is that like £650? No, thank you. For anyone that wants a comparison, the Millennium Falcon had 7,200 pieces, I think. £650. Obviously, you work out the price per pence per piece. And it's like, okay, that's actually not as bad as you think. Then you get Lego Hogwarts last year, second biggest Lego set in history. 6,000 pieces, only £350. You kind of like, that's quite cheap. Obviously, Star Wars is more valuable, but Lego Hogwarts was incredible, and I did actually buy that. I think it was the last Lego I bought that I've actually opened. And then it was kind of waiting, what's the next Star Wars UCS going to be? What is it going to be? I was fingers crossed for the Death Star, and they had that teaser trailer where we knew it was the Star Destroyer, and then it was okay, how much is this going to cost? How many pieces is it going to have? When it was announced, I thought four before pieces, whatever, I thought I could see this retailing at 450 to 500. And And then when it dropped, it was there like it's the same price as the Lego Falcon. I was like, "Are you taking the absolutes?" You know.
Yeah.
And then you see the pieces, and they're like, "Jesus, it's even worse than I thought 30 seconds ago."
It's. I mean, when I saw it at first, I was like, "I have to have this set." And then my wife saw the picture and said, "You are not to have that set." But more than that, it was a case of when you kind of look at it. I mean, for it being the same price as the Falcon, I think you get a lot less value in this. A lot of this build, from what I've seen pictures that we have, the interior is very much an empty space that you're then putting the big plates just onto. You're not getting much detail, not like an interior. It just, I don't know, for the price and the amount of pieces, I just don't see you getting the same value of build that you get from the Falcon.
The thing is, I mean, I know I've built mine, so it's not like I can't judge the Star Destroyer about obviously seeing it, and I'm not going to build it not until at least it's on sale. But the Falcon was a hard build. It took time. It was time consuming. Yes, it's massive. There was no giant Lego pieces. There was no plates, no armoring. It was all done the way it was done. The Star Destroyer, you know, I'm sure I'm underestimating saying it's probably harder than it looks. But there's a lot of big plates on there as well. And, you know, you had Snoke ship with Last Jedi where it like folded open. And I hate stuff like that, so I'm happy it doesn't do that. But then when you think about how many pieces it has, like how does that set specifically warrant 4,700? That's one big frame.
Yeah. It's a lot of technical.
We don't actually have the full size of it, though, do we? We don't actually have the actual specifications.
They've got the specs. It's like it says, 17 inches high. It's like, yes, but that's because you've got the bloody balls at the top. You take it's like
how wide is it?
Not as wide as you think. I think is it 43.
It's longer than the
Falcon.
The Falcon is it? I believe it. I don't want to guess them, but it has been. It's going to be the longest Lego set that's ever been released. They have said that. I couldn't give the exact specifications as we sit here now. Big, long.
It's a cool set. It'll be a fun build, but are you going to drop £650 on that? No, thank you. Give me the 135 I need to finish our race to get the 20th anniversary sets.
Which is a lovely segue into our next bit of news.
Yes, so last night there was a report online saying that Lego have announced their... I don't actually know they've actually announced these, they vault stuff, but Lego have apparently... a list has come out of what's going to be vaulted over the next sort of 14, 15 months. So this December, a whole load of Star Wars sets are gone. Then you're going to have another batch in June of next year disappear. Then next December, you're going to get another batch. The big ones in this is that all the 20th anniversary sets... I think 3 of them are going to retire this December, and then next December all 4 of them are going to go this December. Next December, the Slave 1's going to go. The Falcon is going. The UCS Falcon is going to be retired this year. Makes sense to have the Star Destroyer basically replace it on the shelves.
Yeah,
it's got that beautiful giant box, so you can't really have both of them. And this is where the value starts to rise with it. Literally any set you've probably seen over the last year or two is going. I mean, the Lego sets were from the May wave. To me, what it means is there's going to be a lot of Skywalker and Mandalorian sets coming out, and it also probably means a lot more awful remakes coming out. You know, they might retire the.
We also don't forget you'll have the Empire 40th stuff as well.
No, the Lego don't do it like that though.
And we'll probably get 3 or 4 land speeders as well.
That's what I was going to say. Another UCS land speeder. I'm surprised that wasn't announced.
A UCS land speeder with a smaller land speeder, the same as the last one, also inside, free in the box.
Little Chinese. Is it Russian dolls when there's like loads of them?
But Russian thing dolls are just like speeder. But
like what? I don't know if anyone ever goes on Lego Ideas. I go on maybe like once every 5-6 months to see what are people like wanting to have. There was 2 UCSs. There was a UCS land speeder on there for a good year, and there was also Ray speeder. And I used to sit there like, don't even think about it. So every time they go and do the voting system of which one's going to get voted in, because now they've started voting in awful sets, and anything that's got a license, they're just announcing anyway as well. So I love Lego Ideas, but the whole concept of one every like is it every financial quarter or every 4 months or something?
It's around that for the ideas ones.
That's
Yeah.
kind of disappeared. Like, oh yeah, here's a really cool, unique ship in a bottle. Also, here is Lego Friends, which looks amazing.
Annoyingly though, they didn't do Lego Red Dwarf, and that annoyed
But
me.
they did Lego Stranger Things as well. Like they've got their license. They've got their if you've got a bit of common sense and you're you work in not even marketing, you just work for a company, and Lego approach like, do you mind if I turn your license into a toy? Lego? Probably our most profitable merchandise we'll ever have.
Yeah.
Obviously, they will say yes.
Of
I'm waiting
course.
for more Lego James Bond.
Yeah, the car. Yeah,
James
No
Bond
Lego
slowly.
Red Dwarf, and that annoyed me because I love Red Dwarf and I wanted Lego.
that would have been a cool set. It really would have. Yeah.
They had the idea set up. I had seen it was fantastic. They had the bunk set from Series 1, and they had a Starbug set as well. And I wanted both, and of course they never made it. I was just like, they did the NASA one, and instead it was like ridiculous. I can't remember which one they chose. Instead, it was like, just no, why?
I just want
Give me Red
proper.
Dwarf.
I want proper Lego James Bond.
Yeah.
I don't know what it could be. You know them cheap like £10 sets. You could always have Bond and his villain in a location or something like that.
Yeah.
The DBS was a fantastic build. I know this isn't a Lego podcast, but if there's any potential, we know we're going to talk about Lego Star Wars the video game later. We all know Lego James Bond the video game would be the
Well,
best.
we've still got another bit of Lego Star Wars Lego's gum
Gum.
to come. So we've got
That's
the
what I said.
no, we've got the Lego Battle of Endor free gift set as well. to talk about.
Yes, Force Friday. If you spend 75, well, an Italian Lego.com has accidentally put an advert saying between the 4th to 6th of October, if you spend £75 or euros, you will get a free Lego Battle of Endor 20th anniversary. Don't get excited, folks. It's not the Battle of Endor you know and love. It's the same as the god-awful Lego Hoth 20th anniversary set where it was like micro figures that were the reward for spending so much money. Which
we do have a picture, but I think we've lost Dave.
I think we lost Davey, and he's not just. I thought for one moment he was smiling and not moving, but no, we've officially lost Dave. So if you want to Google, just go have a quick Google, type in Lego Battle of Endor 20th anniversary, you'll see it on there. And they do this every year. When the merch comes out, there's always some form of offer that comes on with it. But Lego Battle of Endor is this year's Force Friday. It's actually massively disappointing. If that's going to be their final Lego 20th anniversary set, that's really disappointing. I wish they'd have done like a 20th anniversary UCS something, Suburba's Pod Racer. I know it wouldn't sound much, but I love the 20th anniversary sets. I know they did 5. They really could have done with one more. I thought they might have done one more wave at the end of the year, but it's seeming very unlikely now.
Dave, can we have the picture?
Are we looking for the picture? Sorry, I disappeared. My internet is being really trouble, so I do apologize for disappearing on this, guys. But yes, so are we looking for the Endor set?
Yes, with the Endor picture, please. There we go.
There you go.
You could build that at home.
Awesomeness.
You just need the little logo that says 20 years.
Yeah. It is
It's
awful.
not a good set. It's and see what they're doing. They bring out these little sets. They brought out one earlier in the year, which was Hoth, which was when the other sets came out, and it looked okay with it like that. But yeah, that's it's not my bag that at all. It's I won't be spending €75.
Yeah, Hoth was
that.
fun. Like Hoth was a fun little set. It wasn't a good set. It was a fun little set they gave away. But this is just no. I do not like it. And then of course we're going to move on to our last bit of news for the toy shelf, which is Slugger's Bounty is going to end after the next 2 boxes. This is something that I have seen coming for a long time. I'm actually surprised it still lasted so long, to be honest. But yes, that is coming to an end finally.
You just know that. I know it's going to end, and obviously I don't buy pops anymore. They've said that one of them is going to be a mystery pop, which is why they say it's a mystery theme, and everyone knows that it's a mystery box anyway. But I think there's severe disappointment that the Pod Racer one turned out just to be Suburba and Aura Singh. Don't get me wrong, they're great figures that, again, people would have wanted them as released properly as commons, not as an exclusive, and they could have eased an Anakin in the Pod Racer or something like that. But the Smugglers, I think, as time's gone by, they've become not more commercialized, but I don't think Funko like how much they go for online. At the end of the day, Funko are going to blame themselves for making it impossible to have them in other countries. Now, I actually bought the Lion King one for £40 total, shipping from America, the box, the pop. you got this. I know this isn't like the Lion King podcast. That's one of the best sort of pops I've seen in a long time. The Star Wars ones go for abnormal prices because it's got the name Star Wars on, but Funko know why the numbers are down because the good stuff like that's being made as to exclusive, not common. The problem is when they do a common, they make so many of them, no one buys them.
Well, with the common pops that come out. Sorry, Phil, go on.
Yeah, they're creating their own problems. That's as you're saying, Josh, is that they're creating their own issues. They're like, so the commons are too common, the exclusives are too exclusive, and by not even doing a middle ground, they're creating a secondhand market that's just going through the roof. And of course, they can't even keep up with it themselves. So it's just they're creating their own loop.
Just do what Black Series did. Just re-release them all. Easiest way. Kill. Sorry, not even Black Series. Toy Story. So basically, what they do, there was when Toy Story 3 came out, 2010. They released a very not limited edition, but there was a very, very fine collector series called Signature Collection. So, like, I've actually got one. I'll go into it in a moment. I know this is off topic, but it kind of plays in quite neat, actually. That it was called Signature Collection, and the toy was exactly like they are in the film. Not the normal Disney shop. This is scale, box design, everything to moment perfection of this is what they are in Toy Story here. They did like Woody, Buzz, Jessie, Bullseye, end up doing Zurg, lots of Hug and Bear, the toy soldiers. They did kind of everything you could think of from the first couple of films. And they kind of stopped in like 2015, 16, but they weren't limited, but they were on sale for X amount of time. And the Buzz Lightyear retail price was £70. And they were going for like £220, £250. All of them were going ridiculous prices. Obviously, Buzz and Woody the highest. They became like one of like the biggest collector things you could get. And I think when Toys R Us had its dying sale, I found the Buzz Lightyear. And I was like, how on earth is this on the shelf? On the back of it was all ripped open, which is why, because it had been destroyed. And basically, cut a long story short, it was a humongous secondhand market on eBay everywhere. These toys, see the odd convention, you see them, and you have to look for the yellow signature token. When Toy Story 4 comes out in July this year, Disney announced in June, we're re-releasing the entirety of the signature collection. Everything is the exact same in the packaging and whatever it needs to be. We're re-releasing this entire collection, and we're going to add in a couple of people from Toy Story 4. Overnight, the secondhand market died. Because, I mean, I got a Buzz Lightyear. I got the Aliens. I'm not going to collect anymore because they're the two I really, really love. But that is, to me, when I saw that, I was like, I've got so much respect for that because overnight that wiped out the secondhand market.
Yeah.
If Funko have really cared, they could do the same. They know they could do the same. But I think they get a kick out of seeing how much it goes. You know, like how Game of Thrones has a joke saying that it's kind of an award to be the most pirated show on TV.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling like Funko are probably like that with, isn't it nice how some of our figures are worth a couple of grand now? And I get that vibe of them. They don't really care about the fans, the collectors. They just want the reputation of Funko to be, this is what everyone's collecting this decade. And, you know, that's that example of the Toy Story stuff. It's worth Google if anyone actually likes them because they look unreal. Even though like Toy Story, they look unreal.
Incredible.
They're not for children. I don't care what they say.
No, they are collectors.
If you're going to buy your kid the £90 Buzz Lightyear over the normal £30 one, then they're definitely going to have some parenting lessons. Because that's coming out of the box first day. But no, you know, secondhand markets, that's how you wipe out overnight.
And it should happen. I think it's what needs to happen with some of the Funko figures, especially for people who do like to collect them. It gets harder and harder, and the ones that do come out eventually, just like, all right, they're okay, but you're missing out on a lot of nice figures that you'd love in your collection. And it has hampered my collecting with it a bit as well. Like, there's some I really like, but I'm not paying £300-400 for a Funko Pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're just not worth that. And that is, of course, the end of Toy Shelf. So we're going to move on to games. First up, we have the Jedi Fallen Order book guide revealed. I've not actually seen this person. I have a chance to look at it. So again, George, if you want to kind of...
so there's two versions. There's a collector's edition, as all games do, and there's the normal retail version. Guess how much the retail version is?
$9.99.
Phil?
$29.99.
40 quid.
Yeah.
Hey, well done, Phil.
Collector's
You win a prize.
80. £80
For a guidebook.
for a guidebook. It's in some weird slipcase, and you know that kind of. This is a collector's edition. EA,
Yeah.
you know, we know what game you're playing. I'm sure it's a great book. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's some beautiful things in there. However, when you consider that on December the 19th, Art of Episode 9 is going to come out, and it'll be like 20 quid as it always is.
Yeah.
Paying £90 for a guidebook is absolutely.
Well, you say that going back years when I was at uni, I bought the collector's edition of Star Wars Old Republic Online.
You used to get statues like that, didn't you?
So yeah, the collector's box that was 100 and I think it was 120 quid or 110, something like that. It was about between 100 and 120 quid. In that you got a guidebook, you got a full soundtrack, you got a steelbook of the game itself, you got this big box, and you got a statue of Darth Malgus, a Gentle Giant's statue. That is worth 110, 120 quid, whatever it was. 90 quid, or so 80 quid for a game and a book.
Oh, no, it's not the game.
It's not even the game.
Or just the book.
Yeah.
Jeez, 120 quid then for if you want to get the book and the game.
And I think Red Dead Redemption was 30 quid. And that's a guidebook you understand because of the game, like just the whole concept and everything. You don't. I'm as Fallen Order is going to be. I'm looking forward to it, but you know, if there's £80 worth of collectibles to find, then that's going to be one hell of a game. But we know that's not the case.
No, it's absolutely crazy that this is out there, and I understand they put a lot of work in these things, but it's a guidebook, guys. This is not. I can't see many of these selling.
Wait 6 months, fight for 10 quid in game. That's what you got to do.
They always get reduced, don't they? That's what you love. They always get reduced. I've got EA Access, so I'm hoping I get a couple of hours on the pre-play. If anyone has EA Access, currently I've got like 9 hours left on NHL 20. I'll get FIFA next week. Obviously, they ain't going to give you 10 hours on the Star Wars game because you'll complete it. But I'm hoping they'll give you like an hour. There's like a nice demo, maybe. I hope.
Yeah,
that'll probably give you the first level or two.
Yeah, first couple of levels so you can play through it. Yeah.
So I'm excited for it, but you know, it's not to sound rude and not to get into the conversation of the 3 big Star Wars things left this year. That's definitely the one, not least in everyone's minds, but you know, for natural, obvious reasons, you're more excited for the Mandalorian in Episode 9.
However, I am happy it's 80 quid.
I look forward to seeing the guidebook on the shelf.
Yeah, as I'm happy it's 80 quid because it provides us with our favourite thing, which is a rant. We love our rants here. Price things. It's just what we do. Now we're going to move on to our next bit of news. I'm going to take this one just because I'm happy about it. Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy are coming to the PS4 and Switch in September 2019 and then in 2020 respectively. If you watched our show on Sunday, our game show, you'll know that Jedi Academy was my number one choice. I adore that game. I adore both these games. I've played them and completed them both. So I'm going to complete Jedi Academy, haven't completed Outcast, but I'm playing through it currently. I adore both these games, and the fact that they're coming to both PS4 and the Switch, I know so many people are excited for it. They are fantastic games. So for me, yes, Fallen Order is exciting. Bringing Jedi Academy to the PS4, that's more exciting for me.
Yeah, and to be fair to them, they're releasing Outcast in September and then Academy in 2020, so they're giving people a bit of time between, I guess, so you can download it, complete one, then you've got the hype ready for the next one to come in. So it's exciting to see new games being remastered, but there's ultimately only one Star Wars game that has everyone's attention. Not you, Jedi Fallen Order, Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga, I guess we have to call it, don't we? That is going to apparently be at Tokyo Game Show this weekend. This was a weird one that I saw on Facebook, that the Lego games are massive in Japan, as you can imagine, and there's a big games, not like Gamescom or EA Play or stuff like that. There's a big like Tokyo expo, and Lego were going there with games. They're showing like Lego Ninjago, no one cares, and in the same announcement they said Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga will be there. Now, no one knows if they'll get a trailer, if they'll get gameplay, if they'll get details on the game, but there is going to be some form of, not panel, but the game will be discussed at length and more details will come out. I, for one, am excited. the main thing right now, I just need to know, is this going to be the original levels from the original games being redesigned, or are they changing them all? Please just question 1 was, are they grunting or are they talking? And they answered that. This is question 2. Just say, I don't want a gameplay trailer. Just say it's the original 6 game. It's the original.
They will most likely give you the option to have either one.
Yeah, well, no, we know about the grunts and dialogue, but I just mean that if it's the original, the first 6 films, if it's the original levels off the old game, that's all people want to know at this point. Everyone's excited for it regardless, but you kind of want that nostalgia with knowing you're going to get the sequel trilogy with it.
I'm hoping it's a mix. I hope it's a mix of the original levels with a couple of added ones for.
I don't think
new content.
I don't think they're going to add anything because there's already 9 films they've got to get levels for. So I can't imagine them adding new levels onto the original 6. I think
they thought that as an option of it through sort of remaster, but maybe this is all the way through the game, all the way through the saga. So I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait.
Sorry, Dave. We only got 1 sentence out of all of that, but it was you're looking forward to it. It's going to be great. So apologies with your internet. But I really hope I haven't lost him because that kind of rounds out our show for the week.
It does indeed. Oh dear. We have a Dave. We don't have a Dave.
But yeah, so that's
I'm here, guys.
Oh, he's here. He's all right. So that's kind of round out the show. Then we've got some more 10 Lego Star Wars.
Yeah. No, I think.
Oh, good guys. You can wrap it up.
We do apologise to the audio for you listening back. Unfortunately, as we have established this evening, Dave does have a problem with his internet. I think what the guys say, basically, we have come to the end of our show tonight. So without any further ado, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at One of the Force of Star Wars Podcast, at the Force Podcast. You can find the show here on YouTube later on, or you can find the audio version later on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, and iTunes. We've been One to the Force. May the Force of others be with you. Good night.